Welcome to the weekly MindSweep number 189, What's on My Mind, Self-Trust. You are the process, your brain, your rhythm, your process. Trust the process. It's one of those phrases we've all whispered to ourselves, sometimes while in the messy middle of creative projects, sometimes in the uncertainty of business pivots, and sometimes in those late night work sessions when clarity feels far away. Recently, I passed a humorous post on Instagram that stopped me mid-swipe. Does the process even know we're trusting it? At first, I laughed, but the more I thought about it, the more it resonated. Because so often it feels like I've handed over my confidence to something vague and external, as if there's a neatly packaged roadmap waiting for me to follow step by step until I arrive. And yet, every time I've tried to follow someone else's version of the process through a business book, a certification, or a proven formula, I eventually bump into myself, my ideas, my rhythms, my way of working. Curated conversations this month led me to a liberating truth. It's not about trusting universal process. It's about trusting mine. I've been reflecting on how often I was saying yes simply because I could do what was being asked of me, not because I wanted to. I hesitated to share work that I cared about. I ignored ideas that kept circling back in my brain. Each time, I felt the familiar tightness in my chest, the unease that signals I'm out of alignment. And right on cue, my old brain patterns showed up. Perfectionism whispered, "You don't know enough yet." Comparison chimed in, "They're farther ahead of you." Hypervigilance and shame piled on. "Hurry up and fix this before someone notices." My reflex has always been to do more, perform my way out of the discomfort, and to clean up the mess before anyone could see. But lately, I've been practicing something different. I pause. And in that pause, I remind myself, clarity doesn't come from forcing productivity, because productivity alone doesn't equal success. Clarity comes from action, the messy, imperfect, real world kind. I realize I'm not behind. I'm simply out of alignment. And alignment is always available the moment I'm willing to look inward. That pause, as uncomfortable as it is, has become a practice for the muscle I'm building, the muscle of self-trust. Countless entrepreneurs have developed processes that work exceptionally well for them. And of course they did. Those processes were shaped by their brains, tailored to their wiring, their rhythms, and their strengths. But here's where creative entrepreneurs often get stuck. When you buy into someone else's process and it doesn't work for you, you're not left with their success. You're left with your own shame. Suddenly, you don't just distrust the process, you start to distrust yourself. Every single brain is unique. There is no single process that works for everyone. That's why the real world work is building awareness of what works for you and what doesn't. This is where neuroplasticity comes in. Our brains can adapt and rewire. What feels comfortable today with practice and regulation become familiar tomorrow. Each time we regulate, we create another opportunity to learn, to stretch, and to grow. This isn't an invitation to avoid hard things. It's an invitation to face them differently, to lean in with awareness and the right tools. Because when a new process feels hard, it's not because you're broken. It's because you're not wired for resistance. You're wired for safety. And this is where support becomes essential. For neurodivergent entrepreneurs, especially those with ADHD and executive functioning challenges, support is a safety gear that holds us steady while we climb. It doesn't take away self-trust, it makes it possible. Support provides the rope that allows us to experiment, take risks, and build the muscle of self-trust without collapsing under the weight of fear. When I work with clients, we're often looking for the path of least resistance, not as avoidance, but as a way to keep moving, to stay in action, in the messy middle of creative trailblazing, because we're growing against the grain of society built on resistance. When fear or discomfort show up, and it will, we have choices. We can freeze in self-doubt, or we can reach for tools of regulation, a breath, a pause, a walk, a call for support. These small practices calm the brain safety system and open the door to creativity, the kind that makes space for something entirely new to emerge. It's natural to look outside ourselves for answers. It's what we've learned to do. And sometimes it helps us generate ideas in our lives or creative work. We can learn from others' paths while still trusting our own. The key is recognizing when we've slipped into survival mode, because when we're dysregulated, we can't access the part of the brain that makes wise decisions and plans for the future. This is also where shame sneaks in. Comparison to someone else's highlight reel, their pricing, their polished content, their success story can ignite old narratives, our money story, our consistency story, and our ego story. You're writing the story, and it's yours to tell. Self-trust isn't born overnight. It's built through awareness, support, regulation, action, repetition, mistakes, mess, and more repetition. The more you practice, the more you begin to trust that you'll make the next right choice for you and your business. So when I hear trust the process, and I circle back to the question that started it all, does the process even know that we're trusting it? What I've learned this month is there is no universal process. There's only your process, your experience, your values, your goals, your pain, your fears. All of these shape the process that is uniquely yours. Self-trust doesn't mean doing it all alone. Being aware of your process means recognizing that there's blind spots and seeking support in the areas that will help you grow. Trusted people, structures, and safe spaces give you the scaffolding to build self-trust in places where your own patterns might hold you back. With support and regulation, you can access higher level thinking, creativity, and resilience. It's not about trusting the process. It's about trusting yours. My questions for you this week: have you ever followed someone else's proven formula only to end up feeling out of alignment or worse, doubting yourself? How do you find harmony in learning from others with trusting your own rhythms and ideas? Reply and share with me. You don't have to build your processes alone. Self-trust grows stronger when you have the right support, and that's where I come in. I work with heart-centered and creative entrepreneurs who are tired of waiting for them to feel ready. My MindSweep mapping technique helps you lay out your ideas clearly so you can see what's next, remove the mental clutter, and design a process that actually works for your brain. Together, we'll connect the dots between your vision and your daily action so you can build a business and a life that you're proud of. If you're ready to stop following someone else's roadmap and start trusting your own, let's talk. Your brain, your business, mapped. You can book a free MindSweep chat or a free consultation at chickbookcreative.com.